Hi everybody, I wanted to come on here and do a quick intro before we get into the video. I wanted to explain my obsession with pop culture before we start talking about pop culture. Specifically, why Shannen Doherty. I'm a victim to tabloids, I'm a victim to tabloid culture. I never grew up in the 90s, but I love 90210 and I love the show because it was the original Gossip Girl, it was the original Pretty Little Liars, it was the original teenage drama. To this day, we still see the same format that was used in 90210 in modern media. A person or a group of people move to a scenario or a scene that they're not comfortable with and they don't understand, most of the time it being a culture shock. Someone like Katie Heron from Mean Girls moves from Africa and being homeschooled her whole life to a big huge high school with super rich popular girls. We even see it in Gossip Girl with Dan and his sister Jenny going to this big huge brand new private school, and they had never experienced glitz and glamour before because they grew up in a very mundane middle-class life, and now they are plunged into this high glitz and glamour society. So why Shannen Doherty? Why are we talking about Shannen Doherty today? Shannen Doherty was the main character on 90210. She was the first cast. She was the first on the casting list. Her character was Brenda Walsh, twin of Brandon Walsh. The whole show was about the two twins moving to Beverly Hills and trying to figure out their way around this high-class society until their parents came into a lot of money and they were a part of this high-class society. Because Brenda was so special on the show, she was the main character, she was the first cast, how could they just drop her in season 4? How could she just leave in season 5? It made no sense. I was curious, I wanted to know, why did they just drop her? And it wasn't because Brenda was just unimportant anymore. She was. By the time that she was leaving, she was the center of the attention. She was always the center of attention. She left on a okay note, but there was reasons that weren't because of the show. It was because of Shannen Doherty. It was because of the actress herself. And that sort of intricate reasoning is what I find so interesting. That's why I came on here to talk about it today. Also just because I have an obsession with 90210. But I wanted to tell you guys just why she left the show. I wanted to do my own research, I wanted to figure it out, and we're focusing on her relationships because it's a little bit more juicy. There's a little bit more information out there than her feuds with the girls on set, so I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you understand why I'm so obsessed with Shannen Doherty, and I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so this is my 8th time trying to record this. Quick intro on who Shannen Doherty is. People say that she is the original Lindsay Lohan, the original Amanda Bynes, the original Paris Hilton. She is. If TMZ was around during the 90s, the drama that would unfold, she used to fight girls on set. Jenny Garth, who was her co-star in 90210, which is also my favorite show, used to talk in interviews about how there was fights on set where Shannen pulled down her skirt or popped up her skirt or something on set, and the two got so angry that it ended up going outside. We're about to throw punches and the guys on set had to pull her back, pull both of them back. I wish that there were video footages of this stuff unfolding, but alas, it was the 90s and there was no TMZ. So today we're going to talk about who Shannen Doherty is and her dating life from 1992 to 1995, I want to say, because there's a lot that happened. She was not single for any of that time, let me tell you that. Shannen Doherty, the 90s diva, born in April 12th, 1971, daughter of Rosa and Tom Doherty. She loves her father so much. She's a child actress. She was on Little House on the Prairie when she was 11. She's only in 4 episodes before the show was canceled. She was 14. She starred in Girls Just Wanted to Have Fun, alongside most notable now Sarah Jessica Parker. If you don't know who that is, walk through West Edmonton Mall and you'll find a giant shoe of flowers, and Sarah Jessica Parker's brand is that it's like a shoe brand. I don't know much about her, but the show Girls Just Want to Have Fun is like a dancing show where Shannen played the like annoying but endearing younger sibling. She had a few nominations in a few TV shows from like 1986 to 1988 for like Best Young Actress. But her rise to fame began 1988 at the age of 17, where she was in Heathers, the original Mean Girls, okay? A little bit more dark than Mean Girls, but the original Mean Girls. Shannen Doherty played one of the Heathers in Heathers. This is where her like teenage actress phase came in. This is where she got her roles. This is how she got her role in my favorite show of all time, as I've mentioned, Beverly Hills 90210. It started in 1990. If you have that, like, I wish I grew up in the 90s, like, aesthetic that I know so many people do, this is your show. Like, I could make a whole video on that show, but we're not talking about 90210 today. We're talking about Shannen Doherty. So Shannen played Brenda Walsh on 90210, twin sister of Brandon Walsh. They were the main characters. There's a lot of main characters in 90210, but they were the stars of the show. There were two twins that moved to Beverly Hills and were trying to find their way around this like rich, high class society of people. Shannen's character very much kind of portrayed her real character in real life.
You believe in me, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Dylan, I love you. I've never stopped loving you. And I know now I never will.
Shannen was the original bad girl of Beverly Hills, of Hollywood, of television. So let's get into her dating life. So I stand corrected. Her dating life is going to be recapped from 1991 to 1995. So 4 years of dating. And engagements. We'll get to that. In 1991, as Shannen is one of the most popular actresses on the scene because of 90210's popularity, she starts dating Chris Fufas. So they dated from 1991 to the end of November 1992. We'll get to why November 1992. They began the engagement February 1992, so they were engaged for a while, I think 10 months. So she's dating Evan Muskintow, and he turned out being like a big jerk, she says, and she broke up with him, and her and Chris started becoming friends, and they just fell in love when they were friends. She says this all to YM Magazine, and then in Star Magazine, she says, "We met and he didn't even know I was an actress. But then everywhere I went, I was recognized. He was proud of me." Which she was. She was 100% recognized everywhere she went. When I tell you she was like the most famous up-and-coming teen actress, like she was. She wasn't even up-and-coming at this point because she was in Heathers, she was in 90210, like she had made it. Shannen and Chris became engaged to be married over a romantic dinner, and he bought her a 6.5-carat diamond ring. Her plan was to wear the engagement ring with an equally stunning diamond wedding band after they marry. They never got married, though. They had planned to marry in March 15th, 1992, as she explains in the August issue of YM Magazine. She says, You know, it goes from this small, intimate wedding to his parents giving me a list to my parents giving me a list. 200 of each parent's closest friends are all of a sudden invited to your wedding. She said she designed her own wedding dress and that they were looking for a location for such a big wedding, that she wanted it to be very 30s mixed with Italian charm. All Italian's food is going to be served at our wedding. Unfortunately, November 1992, she broke off her engagement to Chris, and the pair remained friendly. She told Bot magazine that she's 21 and it's not exactly the right time to get married. So her and Chris broke up November 1992. This is where things start to take a turn for Shannen and her relationships. She meets Dean Factor, heir to the Fax Factor fortune, Max Factor's grandchild, co-founder of Smashbox Cosmetics. And if you don't know what Smashbox Cosmetics is, all you have to do is walk into Sephora and you'll find something. He is a super rich guy. He's already living in Hollywood Hills. He's got a fortune of money, and she starts to date him right after she breaks off her engagement, November 1992. After dating for 4 months, March 19th, 1993, New Year, she moves into Dean's home. April, they go on vacation together. She had also already been cast in a movie called Acts of Obsession that came out in 1992, so they began filming right after this trip. Her co-star is Judd Nelson.
Uh-oh.
If you don't know who Judd Nelson is, Bender from The Breakfast Club. On this trip, remember how I said she's born April 12th, as she gets engaged on her birthday. This is where things took a turn. I'm going to do a quick trigger warning. There is talks of domestic abuse. If you don't want to listen to this part of Dean and Shannen's relationship, then don't, because there's a lot of talks about domestic abuse. I don't want to put anyone in an uncomfortable situation. So I'll do a quick voiceover of what timestamp to skip to, or just click off the video. If you're not comfortable listening to topics of domestic abuse, I would suggest skipping to 20 minutes and 40 seconds. So, within hours after the engagement, there's some arguing. Shannen came back from her trip with a black eye. She said she got hit by a surfboard, but her dad says that he hit her. So from now on, there's going to be a little bit of a trend. Shannen's dad comes to her rescue in the press a lot. I will mention lots of things that her dad has said or stated, and it's because often she won't come into the press and her father will instead. So Factor defends himself about the situation, and he says that he had been kicked and beaten before he pushed her off of him, and unfortunately she tripped, fell, and cut her eye on the doorstep. I'm assuming of their hotel room or like walking up to their hotel room. But Shannen's father says that they were arguing about Judd. Dean Factor believed that they were like fooling around. They leave Hawaii, and April 19th, she begins working on set with Judd. Really soon after, she moves out of Dean's house, and Dean says that he tried his hardest to continue the engagement, but it was just not working. May 13th, they have a fight, and the same day he files a complaint to the LAPD and states the nonsense had to end. In between all of this, May 20th, Shannen's out for dinner with Judd. This very well could have just been press, but she was hanging out with Judd a lot. May 20th, 1993, Judd is accused of kicking a woman in the head at a restaurant after being heckled by her friends. Shannen was with him, and she tells her father it was an accident. What happened was these girls were heckling him about not being in any movies, not being in any good movies lately. Like, Breakfast Club was his only good movie. Like, just making fun of him pretty much in public. Judd's sitting here and the group of girls is sitting here. So what Judd is doing is he's getting all pissed off, wants to leave Shannen with the bill, whatever, and Judd jumps over the fence. He had already had a few drinks, and according to Shannon's dad, because again, Shannon's dad comes to rescue and she doesn't say anything in the public, Judd jumps over the fence and hits the girl in the face with her feet because, according to Shannen, he had had a few drinks and runs off.
Guys, I found the restaurant that the two were at, and it was the Greenville Bar and Grill in Dallas. So I just wanted to put this image up here so you guys could get a better image of like what the patio looked like when he was jumping over the railing.
He says that it was an accident. Shannen says it was an accident and just lost coordination due to drinking. A lot of people say that it was an accident, but another group of people say it wasn't an accident and it was completely purposeful. Who knows, but this just proves Shannon's hanging out with Judd, drinking, partying, whatever. So May 25th, 5 days later, Dean makes a petition for a domestic violence restraining order. So he's not pressing any charges for Shannen. All he's trying to do is get a restraining order. He could have very well pressed charges on her, let me tell you that. When I was reading this, I was shocked. My mom had always told me, Shannon's crazy, Shannon's crazy. I didn't understand how she was crazy. Didn't understand what she was doing, but then I read this. This is a quote from Dean Factor's petition. I was weary of the verbal assaults and I locked myself in the bathroom. At this point, she threatened to shoot me and said, I'm going to drop you. I knew she had a loaded 9mm automatic. I heard the chamber pull back, and at that point, I hastily exited through the back door connected to the bathroom and escaped. According to Factor, Shannen tried to run him down with her car, threw a log through a window to get into his house. She even threatened to hire a few guys to beat him up and sodomize him on the front lawn. Shannen told people not to believe it. Her dad stated that she was the victim, and there was a lot of speculation, the largest speculation being that Shannen was only 5'3" and Factor was 5'10". But you don't need to be tall to shoot a gun, and you don't need to be tall to drive. You need to be a little bit tall to drive, but like 5'3" is a plausible height to drive. All you need is some money to hire a guy to beat him up. Like, all of these things that he was stating are plausible things that could happen no matter the height. Like, I understand that she was more famous than him and she was beloved because of her roles on TV, but this was some serious stuff that she was accused of.
I just wanted to show proof of like what people were saying in defense of Shannen. It's a little bit derogatory, but here we go. Dean Factor was Shannon's second fiance, heir to the Max Factor cosmetic throne, and it was probably her most public relationship till Mr. Pornman, that is, which, by the way, I have no idea who Mr. Pornman is. Anyways, I've got to say I'm not a big fan of his, lol. They were supposedly really intense and really in love, and that all of a sudden they were getting into fights, and he took a restraining order out on Shannen. I mean, frankly, Scarlett is just ridiculous. I mean, come on, Shannon is, what, 5'3" and weighs like 99 pounds? Yep, Dean Factor better watch out for her. She's really gonna kick his ass. You know what? On second thought, he better get a couple of bodyguards to protect him, but since Shannon's is such an ass kicker, I think she should probably take them to, what, come to think of it, we better just get him a whole army to protect him from little 3'5", 99-pound Shannen Doherty. This was posted in 2007. Clearly, this person, I don't know, obviously didn't do their research other than knowing that he got a restraining order out on Shannen. But this is just proof that people have their opinions on it, considering how small Shannen is. But I still stand my case. You can still drive someone over with your car if you're 5'3".
He said that he was afraid for his life in some points. Like, come on. I found a snippet of a book about domestic violence on the Wayback Machine. I could not find the full copy, so I can't tell you what the book was called or anything, but I can tell you the author of this one article, Trish Durkin, recaps that Dean was speaking up, and all that speaking up brought him was media frenzy. He just became the subject of a media frenzy. And it's true. Through all of this speculation, all he was told was, "You're lying." I do believe that he got the restraining order. Something People magazine said was, "Shannen Doherty, the national poster for female aggression. Men love her, leave her, and some take restraining orders out on her." Like, how do you romanticize that sort of thing? I understand it was like a different time. It was 30 years ago, but come on. It just, I don't have any words for it. It shocks me. But this was the end of her relationship with Dean Factor. Had a quick coffee break, but we're back. Ashley Hamilton, do you know who that is? Not Ashley Madison, no. Ashley Hamilton. Son of George Hamilton. He's known as the Hollywood brat. For some reason, he looks so recognizable, but I never saw any of the movie seasons. But like, seriously, he looks like, I'm gonna put a picture of him, but like, he looks like I've seen him before, but he hasn't even been in anything notable. No offense, Ashley Hamilton. Shannen goes from dating Judd Nelson, 80s heartthrob in Breakfast Club, Dean Factor, rich, Smashbox, cosmetics guy, to Ashley Hamilton, who was literally known at the time as the Hollywood brat because his dad was this famous actor and he was just not. Anyways, there's just not a lot that Ashley has done. But what he has done is date Shannen Doherty. So, how did this relationship go? Shannen is 22 and Ashley is 18. They start dating in September. This is after Shannen's rumored fling with Judd. When she stops hanging out with him, she starts dating him. And people on set knew that they were dating, but not for very long. There was not a lot in the public about them. They just knew that they were dating. Friday morning, September 24th. Shannen calls her favorite florist and places a last-minute request for 6 separate arrangements of sunflowers. The florist says that he was told by Shannen that she was having some guests over. Later on the set of 90210, because remember, she's still on my favorite show of all time, she asks a crew member to come by and help prepare for her wedding. And the crew member was like, huh? Like, you've been dating this guy for a month? That was fast. She's just like, yeah. Dozens of reporters ended up hearing about it and showed up to Shannen's house, but there was only about 20 guests that arrived for the wedding. I don't think her parents were even a part of that attendance. No one from her 90210 cast appeared, and people were super shocked because Tori was her best friend at the time. Less than a year ago, they were in Hawaii together. Like, everyone was really confused. They wore casual clothing. In fact, Doherty wore a silk bathrobe with no shoes, just in her backyard. January 1994, she says that she cares about her husband and she takes her marriage seriously. But a month later, February 23rd, the two are separated. And on April 7th, Shannen filed for divorce. Supposedly, they separated because Shannen had threatened him. Are we shocked though at this point? No, I'm not. Like, I feel like if the tabloids covered more, there would be a lot less of Shannen's behavior like this, because it just wouldn't. I feel like she would have realized how it's like detrimental to just her career. Because it was. Well, she left 90210 in 1994 during her relationship with Ashley. I just wish she would have realized that not only her attitude in like the media, how she treated people on set, like obviously she never stopped because she left Charmed for the same reason with her battles on set with other girls. I feel for my girl, you know? I feel for Shannen. Anyways, some people say that her marriage to Ashley was one of the most controversial marriages in Hollywood because it happened so fast. She was 22 when he was 18. It was a weird age difference at that time. Honestly, it's still a weird age difference. Like, if you're 22 going for an 18-year-old and you getting married, something's not right there. After that, Shannen kind of kept it on the down low. She kept trying to say that her party phases were over, but unfortunately, they haven't ended. They ended now that she's like 50, but originally, her party phases did not end for a long time, and that was her downfall. Guys, before I wrap up the video, I just want to let you know a little bit about what Shannen's doing today. In 2015, Shannen was unfortunately diagnosed with breast cancer. She's fought it off and she is recovered now. She's now married to Kurt Isquierenco. They have a very happy life together from what she's said. They've been together since 2011, so very good long marriage for her. She went through her breast cancer treatment with him. She loves him very much. She's done a few shows in between what I recapped to now. She was in Charmed. She unfortunately left Charmed because battles with other girls on set. In 2019, she was on the 6-episode sequel to Beverly Hills 90210. Luke Perry's death really affected her. They were very close. I know I added in a clip on the video of them together. When Luke Perry died, the producers of Riverdale made it so that the reason why Archie's dad in the show, who was played by Luke Perry, passed away was because he was saving Shannen Doherty's character from being hit by a car.
Are you Archie?
How do you know my name?
Your father told me.
You were with him when he...
We were working on the tire. And a car just... It came out of nowhere, speeding, and... Sorry,
And it was very heartwarming for me. I know that I definitely cried even though I don't watch Riverdale. She has a great life now. Her party days are definitely over now. So, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to hear more about Shannen Doherty, I know way more about her than I need to, so please let me know if you want to hear more. If you want to hear more about the dynamic on set of 90210, let me know. If you want to watch 90210, get a Paramount Plus subscription. No, I do not. I'm not sponsored by them, but you should watch 90210. Thank you so much, guys. If my age demographic is from like 38 to 53, I won't be angry because, you know, I'm talking about Shannen Doherty here, and my viewers will probably be my mom and all of her friends. Goodbye, everybody.